Back in June of 2023, a super high-tech submersible, carrying 5 people on what was supposed to be the expedition of a lifetime, dove deep into the North Atlantic. Their goal? To visit the world's most famous shipwreck, but it never came back. So let's break down what we know about the final, fateful journey of the Titan.
The mission seems simple enough, right? Take a small crew down to the wreck of the Titanic. But somewhere, deep down in that crushing, absolute darkness of the ocean, something went terribly, terribly wrong. For 4 straight days, the entire world was just gripped by this one question, watching this desperate search and rescue mission play out in real time. So now, with the information we have, we're going to walk through exactly what happened step by step. All right, so let's set the scene. You've got the Titan Submersible. It's operated by this company called Ocean Gate Expeditions, and it begins its journey on the morning of June 18th, launching from its support ship, the Polar Prince. Now, the timing here is absolutely critical. They were more than halfway to the seafloor, well into their descent, and then, suddenly, just silence. The support crew on the surface lost all communication. And just like that, the submersible was officially missing. So you have to ask, why take such a massive risk in the first place? And to really get that, you have to understand the powerful, almost mythical pull of its destination, the RMS Titanic. I mean, the Titanic is sitting at an incredible depth, 12,500 feet. That's about 3,800 meters. To put that in perspective for you, it's more than 2 miles straight down. The pressure down there is just immense, and the environment is literally one of the most hostile places on our planet. This was the very definition of an exclusive trip. I mean, think about it. For $250,000 a pop, OceanGate was offering this once-in-a-lifetime experience. It was part adventure tourism, part scientific mission, trying to document the wreck before the ocean completely reclaims it. But the submersible at the heart of all this, well, it was far from your ordinary deep-sea vehicle. And honestly, its unique and very experimental design is the key to understanding this whole tragedy. Okay, so this is where you see the Titan just take a sharp turn from the norm. Traditional deep-sea subs, they're built to these incredibly strict certified standards. The Titan, on the other hand, was an experimental vessel. It had a novel carbon fiber hull, used some off-the-shelf parts, and yeah, it was famously piloted with a video game controller. No joke. This thing was operating completely outside the box of typical industry regulations. And if you want to understand the company's whole vibe, you just have to listen to this quote from the OceanGate CEO and Titan pilot Stockton Rush. He basically saw all that regulation as just red tape that got in the way of innovation. It was an approach he was really proud of, but man, as we're about to see, it was a huge red flag for a lot of people in the industry. And look, these weren't just theoretical worries. People were sounding the alarm way back in 2018. The company's own director of marine operations wrote a report calling for more testing. A group of over 30 experts sent a letter warning about catastrophic outcomes. Even an adventurer who signed up for the trip backed out over safety concerns. So the warnings were there. They were clear, they were in writing, and they were coming from people inside and outside the company. Okay, so let's get back to the timeline. With the Titan missing, one of the most complex deep-sea search and rescue missions ever kicks into high gear. And the entire world was just watching, holding its breath. And this number, 96 hours, it became the number everyone was talking about. That was the estimated oxygen supply they had left. It was this intense ticking clock, The whole world was counting down. The whole search was just a roller coaster. For days, planes and ships were scouring this remote patch of the ocean. And then, on Tuesday, we all got this glimmer of hope. Sonar picked up these banging sounds. Everyone's thinking, could it be them? Are they signaling for help from down there in the dark? But then, by Thursday, all that hope was just gone. A deep-sea robot found the sub's wreckage. So the discovery of that debris field, well, it meant the search for survivors was over. The question wasn't, where are they anymore? It was the much grimmer question, what happened down there in those final moments? And the answer? A catastrophic implosion. So what exactly is that? It's basically the violent, instantaneous opposite of an explosion. Instead of bursting out, the incredible pressure of the deep ocean crushes the vessel inward on itself. All in a fraction of a millisecond. It's over before you'd even know it started. Okay,
To give you an idea of the kind of force we're talking about here, the pressure at that depth is over 300 times what it is at the surface. It's like taking the entire weight of the Eiffel Tower and pressing it down on the sub. Any tiny flaw, any weakness, and it's game over. Instantly.
And finding that debris field, I mean, it was just 1,600 feet from the bow of the Titanic. It's just heartbreaking. They were so close. And it pretty much confirmed the grim reality that the implosion likely happened way back on day one, right around the time they lost contact.
You know, with all this talk about the mechanics and the pressure, it's so important to remember the human side of this. 5 people were on that sub, and each one had a story. It was a real mix of people. You had Stockton Rush, the visionary CEO behind the whole thing. Then there was Hamish Harding, a British billionaire and adventurer. Paul Henry Nargeolet, a total legend, a French explorer they called Mr. Titanic because he'd been down there more than 35 times. And then you had Shahzada Dawood and his 19-year-old son, Suleiman.
And this next detail is it's absolutely heartbreaking. According to his aunt, Suleiman, just 19 years old, was actually terrified to go. He wasn't really up for it, but he went anyway to please his dad for Father's Day, who was so passionate about the Titanic.
And then there's this final, unbelievable twist of history. It turns out that Stockton Rush's wife, Wendy, is the great-great-granddaughter of Isidore and Ida Strauss. If you know your Titanic history, they were that famous, wealthy, elderly couple who chose to go down with the ship together, arm in arm. It's just this incredible, tragic echo across more than 100 years. So what are the big takeaways from all this? Well, first you have an experimental sub with a long paper trail of safety concerns heading into one of the most dangerous places on Earth. A massive, dramatic search gave us a moment of false hope before the tragic truth was revealed. And now the whole thing has sparked this huge, difficult conversation about risk, innovation, and whether we need more rules for this growing industry of extreme tourism. And that's really the question that's left hanging in the air, isn't it? These people were explorers, pushing boundaries. But at what point does that noble pursuit cross a line? When does bold innovation become a preventable, reckless gamble? It's a tough question, and one that the industry, and frankly, all of us who are captivated by this story, are going to be asking for a long, long time.